Hi, so my name is Liran. I'm the founder of Yoko Village, and with me here is Connor, an early investor and a member in Yoko. Hi, Connor.
Hey, Laurent, how
Uh,
you doing?
Great. So we're doing this because we want to share some authentic conversation about how we met, like nothing produced, just a conversation. Wanting to start by asking you, how did you find out about Yoko? Like, what caused you to search for something like Yoko? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. First of all, I'll just kind of introduce myself. Like, my name's Connor. I'm one of the investors in Yoko, and my background is a little bit in Apple and Airbnb. I was with them for many years, working on projects around the world. So, very much wanted to find kind of my home or sanctuary somewhere outside of my home country, which is the U.S. So, Yoko spoke to me. Funny enough, it hit me with a Facebook ad, and myself and my partner Aga saw it. We were very interested. We'd already been looking at developments around the world, ones in Bali, in Thailand, and all over Europe and Latin America. And Yoko spoke to us as far as the co-working, co-living, being around other either entrepreneurs or location independent people that wanted to have a home outside of their home country. That was really exciting to us, and it was a very high priority for us to have a community around us of similarly minded people. And not to mention, the eco consciousness, the beauty and magic of Costa Rica, all of that really kind of checked a lot of our boxes. And so we decided to, have a couple conversations with you and then, fly down shortly after.
Yeah, I remember how you guys came, and this was like maybe 2 or 3 months after we purchased Yoko North, the first
Hmm.
land, and I remember we went down, we crossed this river, and it was all a jungle. There were no
Hmm.
streets, and I actually didn't know the way myself that well at that moment. But
Yeah.
you were kind of like this. You felt like I guess everybody who joined in Yoko at that time, and maybe still even today, are kind of early adapters to being able to envision, what we're doing, developing on some of these most beautiful topographies maybe on the planet, but also some of the hardest ones.
Yeah.
So I guess you mentioned this some of these pieces that drew you to Yoko. So when you came here, we like now we have this bridge and there's road and there are streets you can see inside and you kind of see what it is. But when you came here and there was nothing, like what was like when you came, what was the next step? Like what was going on in your mind when you came here?
Yeah, well, first of all, when we got to Santa Teresa, we immediately fell in love, and we don't feel like that way around the world too often. And so you get kind of, welcomed by the people, the obviously the beauty of the beaches and the jungle, the biodiversity, monkeys and iguanas everywhere. So you immediately kind of feel, at home in this kind of like ecological paradise. Then you get to Yoko, less than a mile from the beach, over one little hump of a hill, and you kind of drop into this valley. And this valley is gorgeous. And I remember walking the property for the first time, and yeah, there were no roads, there was no infrastructure, but you could tell it had this kind of just beauty about it. And I remember walking our property, walking up the hill, and I think an avocado fell like right in front of me, and there was a monkey colony, down the way, and it felt like this could be a really magical place to live and call home for a portion of the year. And it really kind of spoke to us in that way. They're like, okay, this is a place we want to call home. Like, let's investigate how this could become a reality. And obviously, you and your team has helped make that now a reality with the roads and the infrastructure and the two beautiful homes you have built now. The model homes are gorgeous and are living up to our expectations of kind of what we imagined when we first saw, the renders.
Fantastic, Connor. Thank you for sharing that. I guess we're still in a there's still a long way to go, right?
Hmm.
So I guess, I'm sure a lot of concern uh came by. Can you tell us what you were you most concerned about when you came, like seeing this? Obviously, there's a lot needs to happen for this to become a reality, right?
Sure, it wasn't a quick decision by any means. There were many spreadsheets, many pros and cons lists, but we we talked to my partner and I talked about it. We had many conversations with you, even talked to my financial advisor and people I trust. And it's a big leap of faith, buying property outside of your home country. This is our first, kind of a jump into doing that. So you have to think about finances and, how much, cash versus financing. And you have to, at the end of the day, trust the developer. And so, after a lot of our conversations and flying down here, we built that bridge of trust. And now, obviously, you're bringing it to a reality. But in the early times, there were many, things we had to get over when it came to, money and trust. And as you hear the horror stories of developers, just either stalling or taking the money and, you don't get anything from it, or the communication drops. That didn't happen, and it's not happening. The relationship is continuing to grow stronger every day. So a lot of those hurdles as far as foreign investment, and is Santa the right place to build? And I can tell you right now, like, we absolutely feel confident in our decision. Santa Teresa is going nowhere but up. The town is growing in a responsible way, nothing crazy, but in a responsible way. And we feel like we've made a good investment with, the way this is going to look, 5 years down the road or even longer.
Very cool. So I guess, the first impression was like, wow, there's a lot of things to do here. But I guess, you met the team, you came here a couple of times. Is this the first time you've made an investment, a real estate investment in a foreign country?
Yes, only the United States before. So this is our first time outside the US, which of course brings its own hurdles, regulations and titles and deeds, things like that. But you've talked with us about it, every step of the way. And, I'll be honest with everyone, it's not easy. It's not, super simple. There's, always a delay of some type, or, the weather, the wet season is a reality here. We've had a big one this year, obviously. So those are kind of an expectation we had, living in foreign countries. My partner and I are digital nomads. We've lived in, Bali and India, Thailand. So we expected some of those things. So I think that helped us get over the hump of, hey, it's not going to be as easy. It might be building, in Europe or the West, US, but it will get done if the developer is doing, the appropriate steps. And you have taken those steps in a responsible way. And so I think that's what's really given us cause for, peace and peace of mind.
Thank you. I truly believe, we're always doing our best, but communication and sharing what we're doing. So we have this inner circle group, and every month we send a very elaborated update about our challenges, about what we're going through here, and also sharing about the developments and milestones that we hit. And I think that has maybe served a good role in terms of, like,
Absolutely.
seeing this from time to time, since you're not here all the time. But you're actually visiting Costa Rica right now, right? Here's those surfboards behind you.
Yeah, I came
Uh,
in to take a look at the build and look at the development, and I'm happy to say it's going beautifully. We just saw the foundation of our properties, which we have our best friends bought the one next to us, and so we're excited to have already a built-in community, but we're here and interested in being part of the Santa Teresa community as well. So we've come to check things out, and it's beautiful, and it's going extremely well.
that's awesome. Before, you mentioned you were living in Thailand, in India, in Bali. You've been around the world. You guys were also living in Mexico for some time previously.
Hmm.
So and you were working in, some of these biggest unicorns, Apple, Airbnb. Because
Hmm.
you're doing a lot of stuff there, and now that you're just continuing to work in remote. How do you find Costa Rica? Was Costa Rica feels like the right choice? Like, what was the apps about Costa Rica that you love more than these other countries that you've already experienced?
Yeah, it's a good question. And to be honest, we had like a very big spreadsheet of kind of like the pros and cons of all these places, because we loved living in all those countries, Mexico and Bali and Thailand and India. We loved it, but it came down to many things. A few, time zone. We love being in a U.S. specific time zone. So the fact that we're in mountain or central time zone for part of the year is fantastic. Short-ish flight from the States. I'm from Denver, Colorado originally. So it's only a 5-hour direct flight from Denver, which is awesome. I can see my family and friends. And then the Costa Rican government, incredibly stable, no polarized politics either way, and very friendly to digital nomads. They have an amazing digital nomad visa program. And we just feel like our investment is going to be safe here. It's a very stable economy and stable place to be. Not to mention, the real estate market is going extremely well in Costa Rica. So we feel very confident for many reasons. Those are a few of them, to be in Costa Rica, and we definitely feel like we've made the sound choice.
Nice. That's awesome. I truly love Costa Rica, not just because more than half of this country is a forest and there's clean energy
Mm,
and like no military working in the same time zone in the US. And just the real estate has been growing here over the timeline. What I find about Santa Teresa, this place is always growing, and it used to be a small village and now it's on a level of a small town.
yeah,
So there's people are still coming in and they're like early adapters, but now you have all these other entrepreneurs and great entrepreneurs from around the world that's come here, and some of them are part of Yoko as well.
yeah.
So if you needed to describe Yoko to a friend, like how would you, in your own words, how would you put it? How would you
Yeah,
describe
it's a good
Yoko?
question. I would say number one, community. So the fact that you're, gearing this towards either digital nomads, remote workers, location independent people, it's going to be really exciting to see this community grow in kind of that conscious way. And I've already met some people that are going to be, our neighbors or people that are going to be in the community, and they're fantastic. I can't wait to get to know them more. Have occasional, family dinners or hang out with them. In the community in Yoko or down here in Santa Teresa. So I think that's number one, is the community piece. Number two is like the eco consciousness and the biodiversity. So the fact that where the property is in this kind of magical little valley full of life, really quiet and nestled in the jungle, but still 5 minutes from the beach. It really does feel like home, and it feels, you know, oddly, really comfortable and quiet. And it's a place that's really truly going to be a sanctuary away from some of the craziness of the world sometimes. And so couple that with the way in which you're doing the development, in a very responsible way and taking care of the environment and not having these huge, villas or development. They're just definitely little villas nestled in the jungle. That spoke to us as well. So doing it in the right way. And then of course, all the things you're planning, which is the co-working space, that's really important to us. And fiber internet, obviously very important. So all those things coupled together with the Santa Teresa community and obviously the amazing surfing and kind of yoga that we have here, which is kind of another reason why we're here, is to get better at surfing, but also just to be part of the community, which is growing in a really interesting way.
Very, very cool. And these are all great things, but a lot of people are also be like, we want to be here a few months of the year. Some of us want to be
Mm-hmm.
here most of the year. This is also an investment.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess a lot of people have been asking, what's the return on this? And I always say, hey, depending how long are you
Mm-hmm.
here? If you're here, you're enjoying it, there you're getting your return. But if you're not here, like, what are you making? What's the number thing, like maybe I can ask you, that made Yoko worth the price, right? How do
Mm-hmm.
you how do you feel about that? And what do you see as a person who came here,
Mm-hmm.
who rented a bunch of times,
Yeah.
ocean view villas or nested in the forest villas, and like what do you see about that? Can you share about that?
Yeah, I did a deep dive into that. My background being in Airbnb these last 7 years, I definitely dug in and looked at all the Airbnbs and their occupancy rates, the prices, and it's astounding, to be honest. I mean, obviously the dry season is when the majority of people come here, so December to March, April, May. Um, it's astounding. I won't go into specific numbers because it depends on so many things, like you said, but I feel very confident in the months that we're not here, we're easily going to be able to rent it on an Airbnb, through the program you have set up, where Yoko takes care of everything for a percentage. And it's going to be no problem whatsoever for us to, if we want to go back to the States for a month, we can. If we want to go travel back to Asia for a month or two, we easily can, and trust that it's going to be rented out for a majority of the time, no problem. And so I feel very confident in saying that, especially the quality in which Yoko is building is fairly unmatched in the area, or definitely in the upper echelon. So where someone might be charging $5,000 a month for a villa, I feel confident ours will be on the higher end of that scale, even higher. So I think that Yoko is going to give something very unique to the community to be able to offer the development, the co-working space, the gym, and then also the community there, but also 5 minutes from the beach. So I feel extremely confident that it's going to be able to be Airbnb with no problem, even if you only want to come down here for a couple months of the year. That's easily going to be possible.
That's awesome. Yeah, and we've somehow something about Yoko that's attracting more entrepreneurs, digital nomads, and just remote workers working for
Mm-hmm.
these corporations. They're seeking a place where they can get connected, but also continue to be connected to their work and not connected to their bodies. What I love about Santa Teresa is that there's just so much good weather here.
Mm-hmm.
It's always warm. The sea is always warm. The rainy season, although this year has been hard, is usually not that of a big deal. And it's great to be here during the rainy season as well, versus
Mm-hmm.
other places that are so beautiful, like Santa Teresa down in South Costa Rica. It's just too rainy. And when you go to Guanacaste on in the north, it's just too dry. There's something about
Mm-hmm.
this topography that's just inspiring. I also love that such an amazing surf spot, and it's definitely the most consistent surf
Yeah.
spot. So this has been great, Connor. I want to remind you that we're doing the Yoko Connect, where we're bringing the 47 Yoko members to meet and have a 5-day immersive experience. We're also inviting some people who are potentially thinking about joining the community in order to meet and connect with the community. And that's
Mm-hmm.
going to be something that I'm hoping to see you there and your friends. And I'm really, really full of appreciation that you decided to just do this. And I hope this video will inspire other Yoko villagers to come and do this, so that everybody can see who we are, and that this community is inspired by professionals and great people. So thank you for
Agreed.
sharing all this. Yeah,
Agreed. We'll be there, including a few friends that we brought along to be part of Yoko with us. So yes, a few of us will be there. Absolutely.
fantastic. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Laurent. Pleasure.
Cheers. Bye bye.
Take care.